welcome to Coffee Chats. My name is Lindsay Giese and I'm the Executive Director for River Arts Inc. And today I am joined by a power couple, Sarah and John Ramthun of 6'8". Welcome, cheers.
Hello.
Cheers. Cheers.
Do you like that? Power couple? I think it's appropriate.
You know, we'll take it.
We love it. We'll
I'm sure people have said worse about us, so.
Take any compliment.
Ever. Like all of the coffee chats, we like to learn a little bit about you. So if you could just tell us about your background to start us off.
Sure. Yeah. I grew up in Milwaukee and went through the Milwaukee Public School System at art specialty schools. So I love all that you're doing over at River Arts. It has a special place in my heart and in my experience. So that is great. Just an amazing family, and we were really involved at church. And yeah, I played softball and tennis in high school, going way back. And yeah, we went to UW-Madison, and that's where John and I met. And we're involved at St. Paul's, the Catholic Church down there, and graduated in 2004 and then moved to Sauk Prairie.
Yeah. So I grew up on a farm in north of West Bend, Wisconsin, so just 2 hours east of here, and 5 siblings. And now 2 of my siblings still work on the farm with my dad, and it's growing, so that was good. I love that growing up work ethic and just growing plants and animals and learning that. But yeah, shipped off. I was the only farm boy, moved out to Madison College, and my brothers still try to get me to come back as often as possible to help. But I love getting back there. But yeah, I went to Madison, went to college, got a degree in religious studies, and met Sarah. Like she said, moved out to Sauk and started working in youth ministry here in Sauk City, Prairie du Sac, and fell in love with the area and just have been serving and working kind of since then in 2004 when we moved here.
A little birdie told me that you did not start with religious studies at Madison, John. What was your original major or first major?
I was biochemistry. So I worked in a lab coat, and I handed in my lab coat for people, yes, with bacteria and culture, and now I get to work with people.
So you both met at college. I think that the community wants to know more about the Ramthun romance and where it all began. So I won't go too far back, but you met in college, which was one of my questions. How was the proposal? When did that follow? And was it special?
I think it was very special.
Yeah.
We were just telling one of our friends this story. We were reliving it, but do you want to start?
Yeah, well, I should admit that I don't remember the first time that John and I met. He likes to remind me of that. I was doing the sound for the worship team after an Ash Wednesday Mass in the dorms our freshman year, and one of the campus ministers introduced us, but I don't specifically remember that, but John does.
You were focused on your work.
Yes, I was. Wrapping the chords, and this was very important.
Yes, I understand.
So I like to remind her that, but she always reminds me that she knew that we were supposed to be together 18 months before I ever really picked up on it. So I remember the first day, but she picked up on the whole we're supposed to be married thing a lot sooner. But yeah, so we dated for 3 months.
3.5.
3.5 months, and then
that half is important.
What was that?
The half is important.
That is right.
Yes.
For her parents, it was especially important. It was for our families. It was kind of moving kind of quickly, but for us, we were friends for years before we started dating. And when I knew, so we just kept moving. But we worked at Camp Gray for a summer, and so when we got engaged, we did canoeing and things, and working with high school students at Camp Gray. And so to relive that, and that actually was a canoe trip when I realized this is the woman I want to marry, or someone like this, and so I wanted to relive that. So I worked with the camp director, and we went on a canoe trip, and I had the ring in my, cargo pocket. And at one point, Sarah's like, "Oh, let's get out and explore this, muddy part of the river." So I'm hiking the, ring up out of the water, and like she's stuck in the mud, but I'm not willing to go in deeper than the ring. And she's like, "Come on and help." I was like, "Just reach out, So,
I didn't know.
yeah. And then we after the canoe trip, we had a little picnic, and then got down on one knee and proposed there.
Oh, did you have any idea, Sarah?
No, I mean, I kind of knew maybe at some point, but I was not thinking that was happening that day.
Aw, that is very sweet.
Yeah. And then we got married a year and a day later.
Oh.
John's mom said it was a good idea to be engaged for a year, so he thought he would take her advice, and that's what we did.
I honored my mother.
What was it, at church here or back home, or?
It was at St. Paul's in Madison where we met.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sauk Prairie, so did that just happen because of the proximity to Madison and you came out to this area and really liked it, or was there something else?
Yeah, it was the youth ministry job. Our predecessor at St. Al's, who was the youth minister, Jason, his wife worked at St. Paul's in Madison, and they were going back to school together. And so, and St. Al's was looking to hire a couple at that point, a married couple. So they kind of interviewed us and offered us the job before we knew that it was available.
Wow.
So it was a neat arrangement back then.
Wow. And then how soon after did 6-8 begin?
That was 2004, and then 2010 is when we transitioned from our jobs at St. Al's to 6-8. So 6 years.
Wow. What can you, I think that most of our viewers will know who you are and what you do, but what's the, how would you summarize what you do at 6-8?
That's a good question. We really, so our goal is to really connect, and I guess better word than connect is dissolve the difference between the giver and the receiver, those that have and those that have not. Because if we're really honest, we all are have-nots, right? We all have something we need from each other, and we all are haves, and we all have something to offer. And so that's our niche of our service. Like, we're helping people who are living in poverty, that's financial poverty or emotional poverty or any kind of need. And we find it best if we just bring people together, right? And so sometimes you might be hungry for food, sometimes you need relationships or purpose or meaning. And we think it's done best when it's not like, oh, there's the poor person, here's the rich person, And so what that looks like as our program is really, it tries to not have charity institutionalized, meaning like, this is when you drop off your stuff, and then this is when you come and pick up your stuff, but let's bring people together. So we work with people who are hungry and financially struggling, but we bring folks together that way.
Well done. That's a great summary.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. And now to I do want to get back to some specific services or opportunities where you gather people. But I have some other random questions because I always do for these chats. You are both so generous in so many ways. But what are some of your guilty pleasures? Ooh.
Sarah really likes what would you call that? Drama or action movie, TV shows, NCIS, or we were joking because she can't watch a show that's like when people are mean to each other. But if you're killing each other, it's okay, It's
if the killing has already happened, and they're just trying to figure it out.
Yes, because you want to solve it, and
Yeah.
Mystery.
But I still don't understand how I do that quite so much. But yeah.
I enjoy it too. Let's be honest. We love it together.
Yeah, me too. Okay, that's
who are you under the bus? What's a guilty pleasure of mine?
We love to read. It's something we're trying to find more time to do, which is exciting.
Specific genres of books or all reading?
Not all, but
more crime novels. Is that like a
no? Oh, I had a good John Grisham phase.
Oh, we all do. We all have.
Right. But yeah, I don't know. I like a good story, mystery. Nothing gory.
No.
I don't like gory.
Mhm.
One of my, I mean, for me, all-time favorite would be Lord of the Rings or a legendary, you know, book that just is a great novel.
Mhm.
But inspirational, educational, I really go towards too.
Do you have any book like that that you would recommend off the top of your head?
Yeah. One that I just finished, or we were reading together, would be Toxic Charity. Is one that Robert Lupton wrote on just trying to, when we love or help each other, that we don't accidentally or unintentionally hurt the person we're trying to help. And so sometimes we maybe love, you know, like you do maybe with your children, you might spoil them, and then all of a sudden you produce a brat, you know, and you don't want to do that.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know if you've been.
Yeah.
Out there.
Been reading some Shane Claiborne. He was God used him in great ways to inspire us to start 6-8, and so we've been kind of going back to our roots there and reading some of Shane Claiborne. He works out in Philadelphia.
Well, you kind of gave a guilty pleasure about Sarah, but my next question is, what's an interesting fact about the other person?
I think some people know this, but maybe not enough in Sauk Prairie, is that Sarah is a phenomenal violinist. She's been playing since, what, third grade?
First grade.
First grade. So.
I didn't know this.
Yeah. Now it's out.
Sarah.
Yeah. I don't play as much as I used to, but I do love it. So during COVID, I've now started teaching the boys violin, so that's fun.
Oh.
Yeah.
Fun thing.
Been fun to see that.
Well, that was I want to go back to the interesting fact about John, but my next question was going to be if you have artistic talents. So it sounds like for sure you do, Sarah.
I can tune the radio really well.
Oh.
That's the extent of my musical talent.
Is that a talent?
Yeah, he's just full of them. Yeah. So John has a hidden talent of balloon art. Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
How did you discover that talent?
Yeah, so on mission trip one year, we were going down to Mississippi and we were going to do a festival for like the neighborhood kids, and they were like, "Does anybody in your group know balloon art?" And we said no, but John's always wanted to learn. So we said maybe he'd learn. And then when I was doing the shopping, we buy like a lot of Gatorade powder and things like that to take on mission trip at Walmart. There was this random how to do balloon art kit next to the Gatorade powder, clearly not in the right spot. And so I felt like God was saying, John needs to do this. So I bought it. And yeah, he can make quite a few things. Poodles and swords, hats, a bear, a worm.
Lions.
Wow.
It was Bernie Ploff and I actually went on a mission trip that year. And we were both going to learn balloon art. So we stayed up to like 2 a.m. the night before the festival. Of course, we crammed. So him and I learned balloon art together that year.
Surprised me.
I've been doing it probably more often than Bernie. He's confessed that he's regretted letting that art go. And I said, Bernie, you have other talents.
So it sounds like we could have an event where you play the violin and we have balloon animals and.
Yeah, I mean, all ages could enjoy that.
All ages.
Right. The violin might be interrupted by the squeaking of the balloon or the popping, but
that's okay.
Mix it in.
I love it.
Mix.
You both do so much to help others, but I know, of course, that comes from learning and having great mentors as well. What is the most recent good advice you've received, or some advice in the past that just sticks out to you that you still follow today?
One of our board members who actually was with us for 6 years, Tom Lyons, and he would always say, and it's a part of how we do what we do or whatever, is if it's worth doing, it's worth doing poorly. And to the point of we don't have to perfect it on paper before we try it, you know? And I think that's been good for us to just give something a try if we think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
Hard for me to do that before it's like just perfect. Right. So that's been good for me.
Well, now we're gonna dive in a little bit deeper into some of the specific programs. And of course, I don't know all the ins and outs of everything you do, but I'm very familiar. I mean, they're just we're so lucky to have your organization here in Sauk Prairie for all the great things you do. But one of the bigger events, well, in my opinion, or that I hear about most often, is the PAC event, and that's part of the Sauk Prairie Against Hunger initiative, I guess that you have. Did that start right away in the beginning of 6-8, or was that, what year did the PAC event start, and how has that evolved over the years?
Yeah, so the first PAC event was in 2012, and Jackie Bascom had gone to a similar event down in Dodgeville with her son Kyle, who is now a high school senior, but then was 9 years old. And on the way home, he just kept saying, "Mom, why can't we do this in Sauk Prairie?" And she was like, "Why can't we do this in Sauk Prairie?" So she started talking to different people, and several people said, "You should talk to John and Sarah. That sounds like a 6-8 thing." And so we are just grateful that she had a conversation with us, and we had led some other events similar to that down in Madison with some groups that we knew down there. And so, yeah, it was very, it made sense to just work together and make that a 6-8 thing. And yeah, so we did 100,000 meals that first year, and that's the minimum that you can do. And so it was literally in 6 months we fundraised and got the volunteers together to do that. And yeah, the rest is history, like more than 2 million meals later. So
Yeah.
The Circles program is a newer, like started last year, maybe?
Yep. Yep.
Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so Circles is, we discovered Circles again on one of our mission trips. It's a national organization chapter, and we're a local chapter of it. But the benefits of that is we gained their 20 plus years of wisdom and guidance, and it was 6-8 was trying. We're like, we really just want a whole wraparound. We want to take someone who's living financially in poverty and provide them with community and support and resources and help themselves out. If we just had someone if we just could get a binder, like, how do you do that? We need a handbook to train. And Circles was it. You know, they actually literally handed us a handbook to train, you know, the support team and the resource team and all that, as well as the programming. And so it was, and they give you so much flexibility to make it local, specific and what you need for your community. But it's just that it's a wraparound approach. So circle leaders, those are the ones who are living in financial poverty. They make a commitment. They go through a 12-week training, learning some skills, understanding their poverty, understanding their role, giving them permission to dream and think, and people saying, you have what it takes. You know, so often in poverty, folks living in poverty hear the message of, you'll never amount to anything. You'll never make it. Why try? Give up. You know, your life is already handed to you. And we say, no, you can do that. You know, and so they go to 12 weeks, and then they make a 2-year commitment at least, and goals. And within that, they have 2 ally support people who are living financially stable that will meet with them weekly. We come together and have a meal together. Their children, volunteers' children, also go, and they're getting education at the same time. And just share life together, right? It's about sharing each other's goals and then holding each other accountable, and then making connections that when we come together, we all have multiple connections, and so we can help each other. So they make that 2-year commitment to reach stability. And just like any good program, there's highs and lows, right? One day you're doing fine. Next day, you know, you lost your job or you quit your job. You're like, you know, we're here to help you through the tough. And when you take that raise and you're going to lose some of your benefits, we're going to walk you through that, you know, as a system isn't make it easy for people trying to get out of poverty. So we need a whole community thinking and working together to help.
I would imagine that one of the barriers to finding your way out of poverty is knowing where to even start looking. So how do the circle leaders find you? Like, do you work with other organizations that are helping connect you?
Yeah, so part of we did a year before we launched Circles, we did a year of just talking about circles to a lot of people. So our obvious one is the food pantry, which is in our building here at 682. And so food pantry patrons are coming into our building all the time. And so we had trained volunteers and staff just to have coffee with people around the table and talk about circles and talk about that. That was our biggest promotion early on. And then, but we've had referral programs with the hospital, the clinics, St. Vincent de Paul Resource Center. And so.
And the school district has been really supportive
Right.
too about families that are, for Circles to work for someone, they need to want to get out of poverty. And so people that have relationships that know the people that are trying and just keep hitting that wall. And so how can we support them?
Fantastic. Are you still looking, are you always looking for people to help with this program as well? Or we talked before, I think maybe you have the most volunteers of any organization, I think. And I say that like it's so impressive. It's not surprising because of the work you're doing, but there are so many people who love all of the things that you do. You just have so many volunteers. So are you still needing more volunteers? Is there always a need for volunteers? What's that process like?
Yeah, there's always a need. And I think we have a lot of volunteers because we do a lot of things. So, if you don't like this, then you can do that. Find your place, really. But I mean, and within Circles, but all of other things 6-8 does too. There's so many. There's, with Circles, there's a meal, there's childcare, there's teachers in the children's program, there's facilitators, allies, which make a big commitment, weekly meeting. All of that, I would say the easiest way is to just head to our website, and there's a volunteer tab. You can also just call or email, and we can set up a one-on-one. What are you interested? What are you passionate about? And we can kind of direct you to something that might fit the best for you that way. So yeah, there's continual need.
I did notice not too long ago, you posted a video about oath for service. Didn't know if you wanted to go into details on that a little bit. It sounds like it's a newer thing.
Yeah, I reference Robert's book, The Toxic Charity. In there, he included an oath for compassionate service. And our staff read that together a year ago. And so for the last year, we've been working like, what would a oath for 6-8's volunteers and staff be? So that I think that every human being, naturally wants to serve. And my thinking is it all comes from the heart, right? You see something and you just want to do it. And the oath for service is kind of, let's engage our head and our heart. And like I said earlier too, that concept of if you're trying to help and you accidentally hurt, like we want to avoid that. And so this oath is just kind of like a promise, and it's actually, the concept is stolen from the Hippocratic Oath that doctors take, where they make an oath that essentially that they're not going to do any harm, and so we think it's valuable when we serve, that we strive for the same thing, that we don't accidentally or on purpose, harm who we're trying to help. And so really it's like taking my need out and trying to discover what the person's that I'm trying to serve's need is, and to work towards that. So yeah, we decided we're going to unveil these in the next couple of months. So Sarah did a great introduction video, and then I call it pontificating or preaching to my staff once a month. We'll just videotape when I'm talking to the staff about each point. So hopefully it's helpful. Hopefully people get something out of it as we unveil that.
So that's something that people will join, or they could just watch once a month, or? Yeah,
we'll just put them out on our YouTube and our Facebook channel and they can watch them at any time. It just gives me a month to plan the next one.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think just to, as an example of how we might unintentionally do harm is that we so often want to give. And so what we've learned from our circle leaders and from the people that we've talked to and books that we've read is that sometimes if you are just given a gift with no expectations, the subconscious message is that you don't have anything to offer. So I'm going to give this to you with no strings attached. I'm going to give this to you without expecting anything from you, because you really don't have anything to give me. And I don't think many people are thinking that as they're giving, but what we're learning is the experience of the receiver is that that's the message that oftentimes is heard, not audibly, but is felt. And so, for instance, for our Circles program, we'll have a Christmas store so that the circle leaders, the kids, can shop for their siblings and their parents, and the parents can shop then for their kids or other people that they might want to shop for. So we ask for donations for that, but starting next week, the circle leaders will be earning Circles dollars by getting here on time for our meetings, by finishing, accomplishing a goal, or, getting these 3 things done this week. And so they will be able to earn money then that they can spend at the Circle store, so that they are buying those gifts for their kids, which gives a dignity that you can't have when it's just dropped off on your doorstep. So, yeah. So that's part of the idea of the oath.
Yeah, I'm sure we're all guilty of that's hard. Yeah, when giving seems like it's the best thing that you can do, but
and it is, and it's generosity, and that's good. But so how can we do it in a way that is empowering rather than making it not dignifying?
Yes. Oh, I can't wait to watch those videos as they come out. Sounds great. Oh my goodness. I have more questions, but I see that I'm running out of time, but I don't want to miss talking about something that is important to you if I missed it. So is there anything else that you want our viewers to know about?
I think we're just so grateful for the Sauk Prairie community. 6-8 wouldn't be what it is without just the amazing people that live here. And so we're so blessed to be a part of this community and to be accepted, even though we're first generation Sauk Prairie folks. So we're just really grateful.
Yeah, I would just echo that too, and encourage people to find ways to come together, find ways that we can serve. And I think there's so much division and things. And one thing that we really were proud of or saw over the first couple of years of 6-8 is that churches of different denominations come and serve together, and they put aside, their worship and differences. And those are important differences that could and should be talked about. But when there's someone hungry in front of you, we're going to put that aside. And I think now more than ever, it would be good to just find something that you're passionate about and work towards it, versus finding something that you're against and drawing light on that, And so as a community, I think just coming together stronger and get out there, find something you're passionate about and do it, and make your community better. So,
yeah. I think that's the perfect way to end this chat. So thank you for those words of wisdom. And thank you so much for being a part of our community as well. Yeah, you're right. You're not first generation, but we are so happy that you chose here. And thank you for all the work that you do. And thank you for chatting with me today.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Cheers.